Molly Nelson in for Jackie, and the gentlemen who are joined us at the desk right now are the people behind the
I thought it was us.
Preview. Larry Cotlar, of course, to my left, to the right side of your screen. Tony Atzeni from the Central Iowa Sports Network joining us, keeping tabs on what's happening in the world of high school football. So, again, a couple weeks up and going. Things as expected on your part?
I think so far so good. I think everybody expected Valley to be the team to beat as far as the big schools in Class 4A, and so far what they've done doesn't change anybody's mind. But the question is, who's behind Valley? Who's the team that's going to possibly get to the Dome and challenge? And after 2 weeks, it's very hard to tell, especially when you look at the games. There's some Johnson's 2-0. But they're 40 seconds away from being 0-2. A nice 52-yard field goal last week from Jansen and changed the whole complexion of the game against Ankeny. So Ankeny could be 2-0 instead. They're 1-1 with .7 to go. That field goal gets kicked. So there's a lot of things here in Central Iowa still to get mixed. Waukee, a team that they have the quarterback, but a lot of young pieces, and they're going to get better and better. Urbandale, they were a 2-point conversion away from beating the defending state champs Dowling last week. So you throw that all in the pot. It's still a long season to go in a lot of ways for these teams to get better. But Valley right now, I think, is a team that everybody's shooting to beat, and they're going to have the arrow on their back the whole season long. So. But it's some good games this week. Dowling, by the way, and that was, we talked about it last week. Remember, Lou? We said Dowling's playing their first game. Urbandale had that game under their belt. That's a huge difference. And you talk to any coach, game 1 to game 2 in most sports is your biggest jump during a season because you've got film now. You've got things to learn from instead of just what you do at practice. And so this will be a big week for Dowling to see how much they can improve because Waukee has improved, and it should be an interesting game. Southeast Polk taking on West Des Moines Valley, and Polk, they're 0-2, but they've been competitive with everybody. So I mean, so they've played a tough schedule. So it's not going to be a layover, but Valley's been pretty good, and we're going to see how good they really are again in week 3 as they get set for the next week's Dowling Valley annual rivalry. And Urbandale and Johnston, there's a neighborhood rivalry. Doesn't matter. Johnston trying to go to 3-0, and Urbandale coming off that tough loss to Dowling last week. So great game in that neighborhood area. So some games, and I'll be at Centennial and Ankeny tonight is our audio game on CISN.TV. And again, here's Centennial 2-0 under Coach Jerry Pizzetti. He keeps piling up the wins over there. And you just talked to Coach over here at Ankeny, a team that just was seconds away from that second half. They just, as they said, they needed to play 4 quarters, and they didn't play 4 quarters, and Johnston was able to come back. So some great games tonight here in the Central Iowa area as far as the big schools. You know, we have Valley on my rankings each week. I'll post up on Facebook. I send it over here to, of course, KCWI TV. And Valley's our #1 in 4A. Pella in 3A last week. They took care of Dallas Center Grimes in their big showdown. Albie in 2A. No surprise in 1A with Iowa City, Regina. In Class A, Gladrick Rhinebeck, the defending state champ, start there, as well as an 8-player with Newell Fonda. So you look at that, and there are some great games across the state tonight, too, as well.
Now, a couple of these teams that either had a couple of losses that could have been victories if just 1 or 2 plays would have went their way, or maybe just lost a squeaker last week. Do you think chips on their shoulder this week?
Oh yeah, I mean everybody's trying to win, but again, we've talked about it before. This is non-district time of the year for all these schools.
So in reality,
it doesn't hurt their playoff position yet.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. So these are the times to learn your lessons, lick your wounds if you're losing, and even if you're winning, to figure out how did you get there and what can you do to get better. Because once you get in the district, that's where you make the playoffs. And this year, again, it's still the watered down system where the top 4 teams in each district make it to the playoffs. Next year, these games become more important because only the top 2 teams in every district will make it. But for now, we're staying with the same system until they change. And so these teams right now just have to figure it all out. And it's very competitive this year. I think it's going to be a fun year to watch because I've already done the rankings for too many years, and this year already I can see a lot of reasons to put teams in and not put them in, and records can be deceiving, as you said. Last year we had an 0-3 team that won the state title and 8 players, so you just never know.
Thanks, Tony. There's some college games, I think,
I've heard that.
this weekend.
Yeah, the big one going on. You mentioned who's playing?
Yeah, I think it's Drake in North Dakota.
Drake in North Dakota. Yes.
Hey, go Bulldogs.
I know.
Go Bulldogs.
I know. And they won 44-30 last week in the opener
Awesome.
against William Jewell. We'll get to that, but there's some game of names I think we have to talk about.
Yeah,
I think they're already starting to gather right now in the parking lots at Jack Trice.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I know people that get there early. Now the game is a weird start, 3:45.
Yeah, it's on Fox.
It's on Fox.
Regular Fox nationwide.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
That is really cool. But I mean, this is the game, of course. You know, the road team has
3
won the
o'clock
last.
there.
That's
Should be
the coverage.
3:45.
The coverage.
Starts at
great.
the game
Okay,
itself
cool.
starts at 3:45. But the road team has won the last 3 in this series, including last year, of course. Colnet hits the field goal in Iowa City to knock off the Hawkeyes 20-17. Both teams did what they were supposed to do last week. They played good FCS team.
And neither fan base can point fingers at the other one saying, hey, we scored more points than you because you scored the same.
That's right. And, you know, first of all, Iowa took care of business against Illinois State, got out ahead of them early, and they dominated that football game. Iowa State, it took a little longer because they were tied at halftime. Or no, I think it was 10-7 Iowa State at halftime, but they got behind 7-0, but then they dominated in the second half. So, again, they did what they were supposed to do. I don't know how you can read too much into that because you're supposed to win your first game against an FCS opponent. I don't care who that is, unless maybe it's North Dakota State. But bottom line with these two teams, I see a similarity at quarterback. Sam Richardson's a veteran now. And C.J. Beathard, of course, is starting his first season as the Hawkeye starting quarterback. They both can pass. They both can run. So I see them as fairly similar quarterbacks. The key to me is going to be on the line play. And Iowa State's getting better because they're a little more experienced than they have been. Their starters now have had 80 starts together, and that's been the first time it's been that way for a while. But Iowa's offensive line is a good one, even though they lost Brandon Sheriff. I see this as a fairly even football game. But I'm going to make my prediction right now.
Okay.
And
okay, Mr. Vegas.
Now Rachel has heels on, right?
Boots.
Boots with heels.
Yes.
And she's wearing an Iowa State shirt, right?
Of course she is.
Okay. Well, you know, Rick didn't want a bucket, but I'm going with the Hawkeyes by about 4 to 6. I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes by 6 for some particular. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling.
Let's sit over there.
Yeah. Okay. Where's Jason?
Jason's you go sit by Park and he's
hiding
offset.
in the back. Yeah. But I'm going with the Hawks by 6. I don't know why. Again, it's the road. I don't think it matters where they play anymore in this series. Tyler Sash, of course, you know, a tragic loss this week. That doesn't really play in anything because once they get on the field, they just kick it off. So I'm going to go with the Hawks by 6.
All right.
That's just my thought. Now, also, you've got Northern Iowa.
You have the right to be wrong, but go ahead. Okay. Yeah.
Why? I've been wrong before. Why would you change it? Northern Iowa is playing Eastern Washington. All Eastern Washington was last year was the leading scoring team in the country. They averaged 44 points a game. They scored 42 in a loss to Oregon last week, 61-42. So obviously their defense isn't the best, but they score a lot of points.
They're the Grinnell of college football.
That's right. Good point. Good point, Molly. So, you know, and the big question with them is, have they figured out their quarterback situation? Aaron Bailey started last week, did okay against Iowa State. They brought in Sawyer Cole-Morgan, and they brought in Eli Dunn, who I know we were talking to Rick Nelson earlier with Ankeny. He was a former coach over at UNI. He said, we think Eli Dunn might turn out to be the best of them.
Good.
But we'll find out. It's going to be a tough game, but it's a first game. So I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Good.
I'm going to go with the hometown team.
I like it.
I'm going to go with the Bulldogs on the road at North Dakota.
Yeah, you are.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah,
and Grandview is at home tomorrow. They're playing Evangel College, which I know nothing about. So you know I'm going with.
Of course you are.
I'm going with Woodley's team.
You have to go with Woodley's
Well, of
team.
course. They've got their one loss out of the way.
Yeah.
They're done. But it should be an exciting day for everybody. I'm going to be signing books up at the, this is a cheap, shameless.
Go ahead. Where?
I'm going to be signing books at the bookstore, the Iowa State bookstore in the Memorial Union between 11 to 2. So people could come over there, get the book, get it signed, and then head over to a tailgate party.
Now, explain what the book is.
The book is The Biggest Rolodex in Sports, and that's the book that I wrote this summer, and actually I wrote last year. But
and that's, seriously, folks, that's what we always refer to Copman as over the many years we were in radio, is Larry Cotlar has the biggest Rolodex in sports, and it was the standing joke because if you wanted to find somebody in sports and you didn't have their phone number, seriously, you'd call Copman, and he goes, just a minute, and he'd have it for you.
Yeah, so we're going to be signing books tomorrow. So I'm excited about that, but I'm also excited about the games tomorrow. So I hope everybody, it sounds like the weather's going to be good, so enjoy the games.
All right, so you made the Iowa State prediction.
Yes.
All right, Tony, we're going to have to give you, since you're going to be at the game, Ankeny or Ankeny? Who's going to win?
Oh, both. A tie. Win it in overtime. I don't know. That's one thing I won't do in high school. By the way, you got everybody's phone number in that book then, you know?
I have yours.
Okay. In that book?
In that
Take
book.
it off the shelf. I don't want to.
We'll be right back. You're watching Great Day Live.